Hi, everybody. Dacob here. Welcome back to the Fashion Bunker. The end of luxury. We love that topic. Actually, quite a few people now going against the algorithm and shadow banning, and they're using even more, I want to say, aggressive words, perhaps, to define it's not just the end of luxury, but many at this point call it the death of luxury, which, I concur. I'm just trying to use a little bit more euphemistic terms to define it. So we say the end, but the end is also, the death. So, but anyway, there are reports out there questioning whether or not Louis Vuitton and LVMH brands in general, whether or not they are luxury anymore. This is on a whole other level. On a whole other level, you guys. This is not just like us sitting here and debating, okay, it's the end of luxury, the prices are skyrocketing, the quality is no longer there, price increases upon price increases all the time. You know what I mean? Like, this is stuff that we've been talking about for years now. But we never really made a video that's fully, like, full-blown, committed, and dedicated to the question, maybe there is still luxury out there, but maybe some of these brands that had the luxury status, maybe they are losing their luxury status. And there is an article by seekingalpha.com about this specific topic. I found it very interesting. So we're going to go through the highlights and the points of the article, and we're going to comment together, and we're going to try to figure out if we agree or disagree. Now, the title is called LVMH Recent Performance Raises Doubts About Its Luxury Status. Like, there's no beating around the bush, you guys. It's not like the title is not clear. The title is very, very clear. Kev says, Louis Vuitton is more like entertainment when the musician collaborator joined. Period. Cecilia says, Louis Vuitton is just overpriced fast fashion now. By the way, you guys, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thumb up this video. Push the notification bell to get notified every time I post a new video. And push the join button to become a member. Gain access to extra perks, including a ton of exclusive content as special live streams only for my members. And you can also join me on Patreon, superdacob, all spelled together there as well for extra perks. Thank you to my members and patrons who have already pledged. This video is being filmed live in front of a live virtual audience. I live stream several times a week, so come join the fun in the chats. Subscribe to the channel. We're almost at 100,000 subbies, so let's get to 100,000 subscribers. Thank you so much for your love and support. For everybody who has been subscribing lately, and who has been subscribing throughout the years and sticking with me through thick and thin. Everything I say in this video is for entertainment purposes only, not rooted in truths or facts. Everything's alleged and just my opinion. Here's the thing. They say a lot of things, and the article is written by Fernanda Galvez Khalil. And I gotta say, it's a very interesting take because Fernanda is writing this article as a person who is considering buying stock from LVMH. And she, according from what I gather from this article, is she deems a brand that's public on the stock market, not privately owned. Like Chanel is privately owned, so we can't talk about it like in these terms. But for LVMH, which is publicly, it's in the public domain and there's stock out there, she judges these companies whether or not ultimately, whether or not they are luxury companies, whether they are allowed the luxury label or adjective, according to how much their stock is going for currently. And she has a theory, which I found interesting because I'm not really like delving too much into buying stock from luxury brands. Because I think the situation at the moment is really unstable for them. And I mean, anything can crash at any given moment. So it's very, very risky. I would not bet my bottom dollar on luxury brands at the moment. But here's her theory. So she says she has an investment thesis. So she says that Louis Vuitton, Moet Hennessy, or LVMH, a huge luxury conglomerate, so we're still calling it luxury, that is run by one of the richest men in the world, Bernard Arnault. Although, she says, although the company has some of the best brands in the world, such as Louis Vuitton, Hublot, or even the Sephora business, the current valuation doesn't seem attractive enough to me to start a position. And during 2024, it has been shown that its luxury status is not on par with extreme luxury brands such as Hermes or Ferrari. So she says she prefers to wait for it to reach her target price. And here's her target price. Her target price is around 550 euro. And she says 550 euro if bought on the Paris Stock Exchange, or around 570 US dollars if bought on the OTC stock market. Aha, this is interesting. Jimmy Guinness says, I'm a watch lover. Hublot is considered a joke for us, for the watch lovers. That is interesting. Cecilia says, I returned 5 Louis Vuitton bags last year, all because of the quality issues. I'm done with LV. Ah, Cecilia, you returned 5 Louis Vuitton bags to the Louis Vuitton shop last year because of quality issues? That's a lot. Like 5? And are we talking like issues with the vaqueta leather, or with the epi leather, or are we talking issues with canvas? Are we talking issues with glazing? Are the stitches coming undone? Have things been stitched unevenly together, or have you had issues with their clothing range or their perfumes? Oh, Cecilia says yes. Mostly issues with wonky stitching. Man, and you know how it is. Um, Several years ago, already during the pandemic, there have been many reports and intel coming out, leaking from Louis, telling us that allegedly they lost, or fired rather, let go their entire quality control department to save money and maximize profits. And I mean, let's be honest here, Louis Vuitton is a luxury, for me, has been a luxury, Louis Vuitton now, not just LVMH conglomerate, but Louis Vuitton has been, for me, a luxury luggage and travel manufacturer. Okay, to me, yeah, great. Under Marc Jacobs, they started doing clothes and fashion. I don't care. I don't own any clothing items from Louis Vuitton. I don't care to own them. I mean, I own accessories like scarves, foulards, crunchies, yes, because they help me to travel. But no, clothing, no. Now, here's the thing. They were famous for their alignment of the canvas logos. Everything was stitched perfectly. You know what I mean? If you had like one side, second, third side of a bag, everything would align so nicely. Everything would be symmetric. It was the symmetry that I loved from Louis Vuitton. It was that perfection of buttery touch of their vaqueta leather. I'm a big fan of their monogram, right? So the monogram with the vaqueta leather in my personal case. But at a certain point, it stopped being perfectly aligned. Things started getting wonky. And the vaqueta leather started becoming not continuously in the same standard throughout all their bags. Like some bags, like some Speedies, one handle has a certain texture of vaqueta and the other handle yet another texture. I mean, we're talking, you know, I could personally see that the standard was no longer there, which really bugged me and annoyed me, especially because they kept upping their price like 5 times a year sometimes. And I'm like, why do you keep upping your price? You're just greedy. You keep upping your price, you keep lowering your quality, and you keep using the same old lame excuse that nobody believes anymore. Oh, we have to up our prices because, the pandemic made raw materials more expensive and labor is more expensive. I'm like, no, you're not paying people more. Everybody's annoyed. Everybody's leaving. Everybody's quitting. Nobody wants to do this anymore. Nobody wants to work for these companies anymore, allegedly. And yet you're like, oh, wait, hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. We have to up our prices 5 times. No, you don't. No, you don't, boo-boo. And the proof is in the pudding, because a lot of these luxury brands that are a little bit less snotty with their nose up in the sky are now officially saying, oops, we went too high with the prices. We're now going to lower them. We had Versace saying that. We had Burberry saying it. They're like, okay, our entry levels and our top tier levels of prices are going to get dropped because we have outpriced ourselves. I'm like, oh, okay, great. So you did push because you were greedy, because you kept saying you had to up your price because of higher production costs, but now all of a sudden it's okay to have a lower price and you can still make a profit. So it wasn't about it was never about having to up your prices several times a year due to growing raw material costs, manufacturing costs, labor costs. It was never about that, was it? So now we have the stock market issue where people are reporting in news articles like, hey, you know what? Maybe LVMH should no longer have that status of luxury. Very, very, very interesting. She goes on to say, I consider that it's relevant to know all the segments in which LVMH has a presence, since in this way you can get an idea of the empire that Bernard Arnault has built. So she lists fashion and leather goods. This segment includes the fashion houses of Louis Vuitton, Dior, Fendi, Celine, Givenchy, Kenzo, among others. Then we got wines and spirits. LVMH also has a strong presence in the luxury alcoholic beverages sector, with brands such as Moët Chandon, Veuve Clicquot, Dom Pérignon, Hennessy, one of the main producers of cognac, and Krug. Then perfumes and cosmetics. LVMH owns major perfume and beauty brands such as Christian Dior Parfum, Givenchy Beauty, Fendi Beauty, and Acqua di Parma. Watches and jewelry. In this category, LVMH covers luxury watch and jewelry brands such as Tag Heuer or whatever you pronounce it, Bulgari, Hublot, and Zenith. Then they have selective distribution. The company also has a presence in specialty stores such as Le Bon Marché in Paris or the well-known cosmetics store Sephora. While all these brands seek to be the high end of prices and user perception, not all segments are equally resilient in crises. At the end of the day, as much as it is luxury consumption, it's still discretionary consumption. For instance, in the first 9 months of 2024, the company's sales have remained flat compared to the 9 months of 2023. However, not all segments have behaved the same. While sales related to cosmetics and beauty have risen 5%, wines and spirits have plummeted 8%. So we're seeing less and less people wanting to invest money in LVMH stock. And this is kind of a huge deal because if you're running a public company or a public conglomerate that is literally run trying to appease the stockholders, the shareholders, but the shareholders no longer want to hold the shares, you see where this is heading. This is a huge collapse. Huge collapse. So first these rumors start, people are saying, quality not so good. Then the stock exchange, they're like, yeah, I don't know. The prices of LVMH stock is not so high anymore. It's not worth it for me to invest in them as if they were luxury. And then before you know it, people are dumping their stock like crazy. A couple of weeks ago, we did a video where we analyzed the leaked intel, internal LVMH intel. They were selling stock to their co-workers, and they weren't always allowing their co-workers a special deal on their stock. And I explained everything in really, really a lot of detail a couple of weeks ago. So you can go check out that live stream because I did not post that video individually. But it was explained like how many stocks every co-worker is allowed to buy, how long does an LVMH employee have to work for LVMH in order to get the right to purchase the stock, how much does the LVMH employee have to earn per year in order to get access to a certain amount of stock, or if their allowed access to stock is limited to a smaller amount of stocks. And then how much would LVMH pay on top to get you the stock? In other words, something like you buy half a stock and LVMH gives you the other half on top for free. And of course, there's always kind of like there's always a twist in the story at a certain point. There's always a catch. And the catch in this case is if you are an employee of LVMH and you are still under contract and you're still working, the moment when they offer the stocks, if you decide to buy them, you are not allowed to sell them for the next, I think they said 5 years or 10 years. Exceptional circumstances apply in which you can sell them, but they're very limited. So basically, what I think was happening, this is just my personal opinion, Bernard Arnault was noticing that the stock was going to crash, the company is not doing so well, the shareholders are going to want to dump their shares. So he thought, let me get the shares and let me dump them to my co-workers, but let me make a pact with them that they're not allowed to sell them for a certain amount of years so we can keep the brand stable. Because obviously, if you're not allowed to sell that ginormous amount of stock, let's say he manages to sell to every co-worker a set amount of stock, and those co-workers for the next 5 to 10 years are locked in, then that stock is going to be stable by virtue of the contract that they're not allowed to sell it. So it's kind of like, in my opinion, a sneaky manipulative way of trying to maintain that artificial stability of a luxury brand, while at the same time not being so cool to your coworkers. Because I mean, other brands, multinational, huge corporations, have allowed their coworkers to purchase stock. And we're talking decades ago, Luxottica being one of them. Decades ago, they already enacted in motion selling stock to their coworkers for better prices, right? And LVMH is really late to the game. Almost so late to the game that it begs the question, are you so late to the game because you were greedy, you didn't want your coworkers to profit from your own riches, but now that you're in deep shit trouble, allegedly, now you want your coworkers to bail you out by selling them the stock, by the way, at the price that you determined, and you determined the price. There's a whole explanation on how they determined the price that I also explained in my other live stream. But they made sure to determine that price in a time where the stock is not plummeting yet, so that they can sell it to their coworkers at still a price where they can gain money. So I'm like, I'm not only working for you, but now you want the money that you're giving me as a worker, you want me to give you that money back at a price for a stock that you did not determine, but you kind of did, because you're allowing me to purchase the stock in a very short time frame where I feel you have decided that time frame in a way that it suits the price of your stock. So now I, the coworker, is bailing you out, but you didn't want to let me partake in the wealth of the company in the years prior. But now that you're in trouble, oh, now you're selling it to me like, look, I'm privileged because I'm allowed to partake in this sale of stock to the coworker. Please give me a break. I wasn't born yesterday, darling. So now that more and more information is coming out and people are writing these articles, that they're like, you know what? I don't consider LVMH luxury anymore. What do we think? What do you guys think? I personally think that ever since Louis Vuitton stopped focusing on their luggage and transportation collections, and since they started discontinuing all the different sizes of the Speedies, of the Keepalls, without the bandolier, and all that stuff, since they started doing that, for me was over. I'm like, you're not making anymore what I used to buy at your company. I was a client of those items. I loved those items because they're super practical. I mean, just yesterday, I have my Speedy here with me. Just yesterday, I wore it yet again. It is like, of all the luxury bags I have, that's the most practical one. It's light as a feather, super stable. You can zip it shut. Nobody can put their hand inside and steal stuff out of it. It's amazing. I love it. And they discontinued my size. You can't get it anymore in the constellation, what used to be the classic constellation, which was the monogram. Let me fetch it just a second. Sorry, you guys, it's back here. So here's my Speedy, and here's the thing, Speedy 35. Here's the thing, and this is why ultimately to me, LV is no longer luxury. Luxury most important luxury is time. Once you're out of time, it's done. So luxury is the biggest, time is the biggest luxury. But as Coco Chanel said, the best things in life are free, second best are very expensive. This is second best. Okay. So if we're talking about these luxury goods, in order for a brand to be named luxury for me, is this. I can spend a premium price on these items that are considered luxury items if, for sure, they have good quality, durability. In the case of travel goods, they better have durability. I'm not talking about hand-stitched silk little things for little soirée beaded minaudière that you wear to the red carpet event. That bag is not supposed to be durable. I get it. But this shit is. It's a Speedy for a reason. Now, it's called a Speedy for a reason. You fold it. Mine has folds because whenever I travel, I keep folding it flat, put it in a backpack. When I arrive at destination, I open it up and we use it. We wear it. It's super practical and super light. But so, what makes it luxury? The quality, the durability, yes, but most importantly, I am paying a premium price because I have that reassurance that I am paying for something that will be there forever or as long as I live. Meaning, this was created in the 1920s. The Speedy was first launched in the 1920s. So since the 1920s, it existed. And that means I'm glad to pay extra money for this, knowing that if in 10 years this one were to break, tear, rip, whatever, either I can bring it back to Louis for repairs. They don't repair canvas, I get it, plastic, whatever, but they do repair leather. But let's just say after 10 years, I'm done, I want a new one. I can go to Louis and I tell them, I need to repurchase my Speedy 35. And they say, sure, we have it. Of course we have it. It's our classic. We always make them. Which one would you like? With bandolier or without bandolier? I prefer without the bandolier. Sure, we have it, monsieur. Here you go. Yes, it's going to cost you more because it's been 10 years since you bought it last time. Fine. That's okay. I am paying that extra premium price for luxury. Luxury being that reassurance that whenever I go to Louis, I will get my classic pieces. That's luxury. That heritage, that continuity of the classic pieces. I'm paying premium knowing that this is not just a trendy little mood of the moment, you know? It's a seasonal bag and then next year it's not available anymore, so tough titty. No, I'm paying a luxury price because this is a forever piece, and if it breaks 10 years from now, I can find it again at Louis because they're still going to be making it. Louis stopped doing that. They discontinued their classics. And now that they've discontinued this bag, I'm like, well, I no longer have that reassurance that you're going to be making your classics because you seem to be very fickle these days, Louis. Very, very fickle. You're not reassuring me about anything. You're launching new perfumes. 2 months later, you discontinue them. If I fall in love with one of your perfumes that you just launched, you just started your perfume range in 2016, already almost half of them are no longer in production. That's not luxury. I'm sorry, that's not luxury. That's not luxury at all. It's like you're like throwing all the spaghetti at the wall, hoping that one little spaghetti is going to stick. That is giving me major instability vibes. Major instability vibes, and it's also giving me greed. One of the reasons why these particular Speedies have been discontinued is because they were not expensive enough for you, Louis. Isn't that so? Correct me if I'm wrong. This is just my opinion, of course, only, but I have a sneaky suspicion that now that Miss Thing came to the show and wanted to make those ugly-ass leather version Speedies, now no longer are the Speedies $600, $1,000. Now you want $7,000, $8,000, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 for the Speedy that's done in leather with the printed monogram on it because you think you can make more profits out of it. So you're going to discontinue the more affordable classic Speedy because you don't like the fact that the price is too low. That's my theory on why you're discontinuing your classics. In other words, greed. No, that's not luxury anymore. I'm sorry. And another thing that Coco Chanel was so right about, she said the opposite of luxury is not poverty, dear. The opposite of luxury is vulgarity. So I do agree to a certain extent that Louis Vuitton is no longer luxury. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Victoria Bolton in the comments says many fashion houses for some reason felt that they had to compete with fast fashion brands in style, and now a lot of their products are resembling those fast fashion brands. Carla says, I think they have now discovered the Croisette, which is one of my favorite Louis Vuitton bags. I own it in damier azur, and I love it so much. But they discontinued, not they have discovered. They have now discontinued the Croisette, which is one of my favorite Louis Vuitton bags. I own it in damier azur, and I love it so much. Terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Mr. POTUS 5000 says, I don't think Louis Vuitton is luxury anymore. When you launch a new product every 2 weeks and then your quality goes down and down, but price is up, it's essentially just a scam. Tavaler 2022 says, what we need to acknowledge for ourselves is the fact that greed is the new luxury. Gigi says, my spending has shifted. I'm finding more satisfaction investing in tech stocks. Luxury is starting to feel cheap and ordinary. In other words, it's no longer luxury. The end of luxury, babes. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thumb up this video, subscribe, and let's get to 100K. Love you loads. 100K subbies. What a dream. Bye. Never go up on lurv.